Redditors whose marriage lasted less than a year. What went wrong? I went to school with a girl who got married in July 2016 after 3 months of dating a guy. They got divorced in November 2016 after the presidential election. Turns out one of them was an extreme conservative and the other was an extreme liberal, and this was not discovered until then. How does that not come up? Something tells me their relationship was 80% sex and 20% Netflix with very little chit-chat between eps. Husband stopped drinking for a year before marriage, then started drinking the day we got married and didn't stop. This just happened to a friend. Her divorce is about to be finalized. When I got home from Afghanistan, my wife at the time admitted that she had sex with 23 guys while I was gone. Needless to say, our marriage ended real quick. I don't think she understood the directions of 23andMe. My dad's second marriage lasted 5 months. I remember moving into my old stepmom's place when I was a kid, and then, less than a school year later, moving right back out. I had a stepsister who was physically handicapped from birth. She could walk very slowly and laboriously with a walker, but primarily used a wheelchair. My stepmom was so protective of her. My stepsister was 16, and my stepmom would cut her food for her, like she's not mentally handicapped whatsoever. And my stepmom was treating her like a kindergartner, which obviously made stepsister hate stepmom. Dad tried to get stepmom to let up. The stress of the poor relationship between mother and daughter lead to stepmom and my dad fighting constantly. Dad tried to get therapy for everyone, and no one would bite. Dad divorced her, and she hated his guts for not being strong enough for her daughter, with whom my dad had the best relationship. It's 10 years later, and I ran into stepsister at the store recently. She is doing really well. Graduated with her master's in linguistics and teaching some undergrad courses at the local college. Stepmom is single and still trying to manage every aspect of her life. But stepsister isn't letting her anymore. None of my business, I guess. Good on your stepsister. Mine lasted just a little over a year, but close enough. Married my girlfriend of 4 years right before getting deployed. She didn't have anything to keep herself busy while I was gone. Job, hobby, etc. Close bracket. Ended up getting into drugs while I was gone. Then I got her pregnant during my 2-week leave in the middle of the deployment. She felt so trapped that she had talked me into agreeing to give our child up for adoption once she was born. I was so blindly in love with her that I would have agreed to darn near anything she suggested. She ended up leaving me a week after our daughter was born and cancelling the adoption, taking her back from the adopting parents. Long story cut short, she got back into drugs, pretty sure she wasn't on them, while pregnant with my daughter, had 2 more kids with whoever was her dealer at the time, and CPS ended up stepping in, which gave me full custody of my daughter. Not a day goes by when I look at my daughter and wonder what the duck I was thinking. And I'm so glad to have this wonderful, crazy, little girl in my life. Edit. Thanks everyone for the replies. I normally only check Reddit on my phone, and the app is terrible about showing that you have replies. I'm sorry if I missed responding to your question. I feel for you and your daughter, and I'm glad you two have each other. We were together for 7 years, living together for 5, before he proposed. Total surprise to me. We hadn't discussed it. Got married a year later. 7 months after that he started withdrawing and acting depressed. So I tried to get him to talk about what he was feeling. He said he couldn't stand to be around me and hated me, then moved out 2 weeks later. Divorced 6 weeks after that. I still wonder what happened. We haven't spoken since he called to confirm he didn't want to do counseling and just wanted a divorce instead. My guess would be depression. This could have been my story as well. We'd been together 10 years. Had 1 daughter, planned, when we got married. Immediately I was pregnant again, also planned, and he started withdrawing from me, being a dick to me and ignoring me, going out with people from work, and not coming home. When our second daughter was born he barely interacted with me. We hadn't even been legally married a year. I told him to leave and sort his shit out and decide whether he wanted to be a family or not. Before our youngest turned 1, he realized it was depression and saw a doctor for medication and really turned things around. Realized he did want to be together. Looking back, I could see the pattern of it through our relationship. He still struggles with depression, but is open with me about it instead of shutting me out. The day after the wedding, a sheriff showed up on our doorstep with child support papers for a 3-month-old baby. Turns out he had been sleeping with his coworker. I was willing to look past the indiscretion, but when he refused to take responsibility for his child, I couldn't handle it anymore. The kid shouldn't have to suffer because his dad is an idiot. Divorce was final 11 months after our wedding day. Why were you willing to overlook the indiscretion? If you don't mind me asking. In all honesty, we had been together so long. High school sweethearts. I was afraid of what life would be like without him. My thought at first was maybe he just wanted to experience someone else. I felt like I would be able to forgive that. But to turn his back on his child was unforgivable to me. Together on and off for 11 years. Married on our 11-year anniversary. That was August 23rd. December 22nd she passed in an accident. Oddest part maybe that my father lost his wife on the same day when he was the same age. Please read the reply I made to myself on this comment. Wasn't sure whether to reply or edit. Responded to myself again. Hope you all see it. It's down there somewhere. To clarify, my mom was my dad's second wife. My mom worked daycare, where my 2 oldest brothers went. It's been a few years now. It's still hard and always will be. I never thought I'd know how to love again. Not like that. Always thought I might love someone again, but didn't think I could have a real closeness. I didn't know that someone would love me so much that I wouldn't know how to not fall in love with her. I met someone who loved me, even though I was broken, and held me while pieces mended. Her heart is possibly the most beautiful thing I've ever known. She couldn't fix me, but she was a big part of it and loved me while I processed a lot of it. I still wake from dreams about my lost wife, sometimes in tears, but when I do, I'm not alone. As someone whose husband passed away a few months ago, this gives me just a bit of hope, specifically in regards to the closeness. Thank you. My ex-wife and I lasted about 7 years, but her first marriage ended pretty much right at the year mark. They were both 19. She got pregnant. They got married and tried to make their life work on one $8/HR income. With her as a stay-at-home mom with no money, no car, and no friends in the same place in life she was. Day in and day out, stress drove them apart. Friend of mine bought a house in a small town with his new wife, and he continued to commute 1 hour each way to work in our city. She worked part-time in the small town. Around the 10-month mark of their marriage, she cheated on him with a mechanic in that small town. That was 5 years ago, and she's still with the mechanic, but he won't commit lol. Geez. I wonder why. Edit. Some of you apparently thought this was a serious question. Spoiler alert, it was sarcasm. Guess I should have put the /s. Maybe she likes dogs, and he likes cats. Not my relationship. My older sister's. The marriage wasn't the best from the beginning. While in transit with friends to spend Christmas at my parents', my sister's ex hit a patch of black ice and rolled their car at 55 miles per hour. His best friend wasn't buckled in and was thrown through the sunroof and killed. Her ex-husband spiraled into depression, and it ended the marriage 8 months in. Lots of things happened that led to the split, but this was the one tragic incident to really push divorce into motion. I can't imagine the guilt of being the driver and getting into an accident that kills your best friend. I hope he's doing better. Much better. He remarried a great woman and seems happy. He had a terrible 3 years following the event, but now you couldn't tell. This one's kind of ducked up. Happened to a friend. We were deployed to Okinawa. My friend married his girl prior to deployment. He found out mid-deployment that she cheated on him. But the way he found out was kind of messed up. He checked his FB one day and saw a message from some dude he didn't know. The guy straight up told him that he slept with his wife. She didn't say she was married, and when he checked her FB he saw she was married to my friend. He felt guilty and had to message him. My friend wasted no time and divorced her in Oki. I'm not sure if that was possible. I just remember him doing some kind of legal work the following day. Good on the guy for telling him, though. Some would just want to avoid the situation and let further harm be done. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.